because it's going to define you. It makes you who you are. It's your reason for existing. That needs to be in your DNA. The second part of the creativity that you need to do is then you need to develop, watch this, your mission statement. Your mission statement is a statement that outlines what the organization wants to be. You need to know what your organization wants to be. It speaks and concentrates on the future of your company and our organization. In other words, your mission statement says who you are, and your vision statement says, this is where I want to go. And you need to be able to say that when you talk to people. People need to be able to see that when they talk to you about your agency. These are some very important things that you need to have in place before you can pursue going after the money. I think sometimes we want to go after the money and our ducks are not in a row. Because the people that you're going after the money to get from, they built programs. They know what it looks like. If you're speaking Latin and they're speaking English, you're going to have some problems. So we look at the two creative factors, and I really want you to put some energy into your mission statement. And I am a man of God, so I have to share with you that my mission statement was ordained by God. My grandmother put my mission statement in the Bible 16 years ago under Matthew 6:33, and the rest is history. Now I just got to put that out there because I'm a professional, but God has blessed me to be up here and speak to you, so I have to represent him as well. So now we look at your mission statement and your vision statement, and then we got to get into the identity of who you are, your agency is. So the first thing, after you create your mission statement, and then your vision statement, you want to identify your purpose. What's your purpose? And your purpose is, and the object toward which one strives and aims. It's what drives you. What's your purpose? What drives you to do what you do? My facility helped HIV positive men with drug addictions. I started a program many years ago, and I had nowhere to place individuals that were positive, and that messed me up. It turned my life around. I was going to college to do something totally different, but that turned my life upside down. I'm a person that rises to occasions in my life. I switched over what I was going to school for. And God called me to the ministry. I believe you call a ministry as a call of preparation. So I went and got educated in the area of ministry. But that drove me. And it changed my life. Because I met individuals that were good people, but they had nowhere to stay. Because no one knew they were not talking with them about the situation. So I had to identify my purpose. So my question to you is, it all starts with a mission statement and a vision statement, but then you identify your purpose. So ask your neighbor, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? And so once you identify your purpose, the next thing you got to identify is your goals. Your goals should be an observable, able to see it, and measurable in result, realistic. I call it a defined result. You have to define your result. How will you define your result for your agency? I believe if you can speak it, you can define it. If you can define it, it can be done. I believe that with all my heart and soul. I believe that's how you put feet to your faith. That you don't just talk about it, you be about it. If you can speak it, you can define it. And if you can define it, then it can be done. We're all in here to do something different. But if you can speak it, it can be defined. And so we look at, it all starts with, and one might ask, well, what does that have to do with the funding source and getting the money? Well, I'm going to share that with you in a minute. A clear mission statement, and it should be 1 or 2 paragraphs. A clear vision statement, 1 or 2 paragraphs. What's your purpose? Identifying your purpose. Identifying your goal. And lastly, identifying your objectives. But what are your objectives? Well, it's something that your business efforts and or actions are intended to attain or accomplish. I call it a focus result. You have to have these things, and everything that I've just shared with you, I spent right at 1 to 6 months making sure I could create it properly. Because what that did for me is when I met with the funding sources, all of this was intertwined in my DNA. Because a lot of times funding source will fund you versus your project. Now some of y'all may get that. They will fund you, not your project. If you got fiscal integrity, they will fund that. If you can show where your projects have been on time and under budget, of which 2 of mine has been, and we've managed right at $7.8 million of programmatic monies over the last 14 years in those programs, and all of them have been audited every year with no findings. And that is called, what we call in the social entrepreneurial industry, fiscal integrity. That's what matters. And so one of the most important things that I was able to do, me and my wife, is we were able to make sure that our mission, our vision, our purpose, goal, and objectives were so clear that we could explain it to you in 5 minutes. We could talk to you about it, and you could see our purpose, goal, and objectives in us before we even ask you for money. Because a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves, and when I meet as through my company, Provisions Unlimited, where I'm going to show people how to do things that we've done, a lot of people always ask me, where do you get the money from? That's a good question. But then I ask them, what's your purpose? And they say, huh? What's your goals? What do you mean, Pastor Phill? And then I don't take it as a slight, but these are the things that the funding sources want to hear and see without looking at your grant. Because most funding sources, the grant monitors, were people that have built programs. The funding sources would want to they would want to recruit an individual such as myself, because I can walk in a program and tell you if it's fundable or not. I can talk to an executive director and tell you if it's they're fundable or not, because there's a certain language that the funding sources are looking for. So I want to take a step back and let me share with you what happened. The city of Houston knocked on the door of the facility. I started out in an old ranch style house called the Jenny House. And we were doing things so strong, the city of Houston knocked on the door and asked me if I knew what a 501c3 was. Back then, 15 years ago, I said, no, what is that? They said, well, how are you doing this? I said, well, I draw unemployment, $268 a week. Back in 1998, that was the max. And I went back to the streets of downtown Houston, found individuals that I had tested. They said, you know, we can help you. And so I got my first grant. They took me through a technical assistance program, a workshop for a whole week, because they were so impressed that I had set up the place and I was helping individuals. I didn't know what a 501c3 was when I first started out, but I had passion for the people that I was helping. And so I speak from a different vernacular. I speak from the fact that I was able to explain to them as I moved forward and learned the social entrepreneurial aspect of what I was doing. I was able to explain to them what I was doing. I gave them my mission, my vision, my purpose, goal, and objective in all of about 7 minutes. And everything else about my business followed that. So I would encourage you this morning, my brothers and sisters, that you would make sure that your mission statement, I hope I don't offend nobody when I say this, this is business, is ordained by God. I'm sorry if I've offended any business folk in here. I apologize. I didn't mean to. But that's what I've done. If it's ordained by God, then at the same time, he'll give you the vision on where you can take it, because the vision goes across county lines if properly done correctly. Then you have to come up with a purpose. What's the purpose of your vision and your mission? What's the goal? What do you want to accomplish? And then what are your objectives? Because here's what I know. God's provisions are definitely unlimited, not for only my life, but your life as well. And so with that, I've learned something a long time ago. I haven't seen the yellow flag, the yellow piece of paper or the black one, but I believe time is a moral issue. And if you would like to know more about Provisions Unlimited, my wife is sitting right there. We're going to go across the country and show pastors how to do the same thing. Both projects on time and under budget. And we want to make sure that we show that pastor, that civic leader, how to take that property and set up the programmatic parts of it that will add value to that community across the country. But time is a moral issue, and so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to try to give y'all 2 minutes back. Is that all right? All right, God bless you.